Welcome back. Brand new episode of Be Cloud Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart as we run and operate Speak Cloud Group, full service marketing and advertising agency based in North Texas, but serving clients across the nation and even a few around the globe. So we today are going to talk about specifically meta ads. Meta ads are a very powerful tool for any business or organization. And today we're really going to take a little bit of a dive into what can meta ads do specifically. And the reason we're talking about meta ads today is because there was a massive update to meta ads late 2025 rolling into 2026. And those changes really affect you. If you are attempting to run your own meta ads, or are diving into meta ads, whether it's through some online course that you saw, or you're doing some research, you're doing YouTube University, or maybe you have chosen to go inside of our Speak Loud Academy. Inside of Speak Loud Academy, we have a beginner and an advanced course on meta ads. And we are actually adding an update over the next 2 weeks about this specific algorithm update. Because some things changed. The importance was shifted in a couple of different directions, and we're going to talk through that after we walk through specifically what are meta ads and how are they delivered and how can you optimize them. We're not going to get too far into the weeds here. I just want you to be aware of the different things that you can do inside of meta ads. Ads in general across any platform work as well as the optimizations. And as well as the boxes that you check along the way to ensure that you have a winning campaign. And so we're going to talk about from kind of top to bottom, what exactly is meta ads and how can you make them work in your business. So the hierarchy of meta ads, which every time I say meta ads, think along the lines of Facebook and Instagram. They are one and the same inside of the ad platform. You can choose to target one or the other or both. That being said, starting at the very top, what can meta ads do for you and your business and you and your organization? Number one, or at the top of the list or top of the funnel, however you want to look at it, is awareness campaigns or reach campaigns. They're one and the same. They are for brand recognition. Essentially, you are telling the algorithm that you want this ad to go as wide as you can possibly get it to go. You want it to show to as many people as possible in your kind of demographic or geographic area that you have outlined. And what that means is it is not optimizing to get people that are likely to message you. It is not optimizing for people who are likely to click over to your website or optimizing for someone that might fill out a lead form or something along those lines. It is optimizing for those that will watch a short video or see a short graphic or a simple graphic. It is working on brand recognition. It is working to put your brand and what you do and the services that you offer in front of your audience. And it's trying to deliver it to as many of them as possible with the budget you have allocated to it. So how is this one different? Kind of covered that already. It is not optimizing for any specific action. It is optimizing to deliver it to as many people as possible in your geographic area that you have outlined. So that is the big difference. The other difference, pros and cons, right, is that cons being you're not looking to get messages. As a byproduct, you could. You're not looking to get website traffic. As a byproduct, you could. You're not looking to gain followers necessarily. Again, as a byproduct, you can and probably will, but it'll be a smaller amount. All of those things I just mentioned, messages, lead forms, followers, traffic to your website, things like that. It's going to be a byproduct of that. So it's not the main optimization. Meta knows certain users are more likely to send a message. Certain users are likely to fill out a lead form or to click over to your website. Others are not as likely. So when you pick awareness or a reach brand awareness campaign, you are saying, I don't care about any of those things. I really want to reach all of them, even if they're not likely to click or leave a lead form or anything along those lines. I want to reach as many of them as I possibly can with this campaign. I want people to know that we're here, that we exist, and this is what we do. And does that work really well? Absolutely. The pros of that is probably one of the least expensive ad campaigns that you can run in terms of how many people can I reach for the money that I'm spending. As soon as you start to turn on any additional optimizations, like I want them to click over to my website, and that's how I want it optimized. I want them to fill out this lead form, and that's how I want it optimized. Anything that you turn on is going to cause the cost per conversion to go up some. Not significantly necessarily, just some. But by far, if I just simply want people to know I exist, and that is the ultimate action I'm trying to get them to take, is that I want them to know I exist and I am here, and these are the services or products I provide. It's the least expensive. We're talking pennies to get your ad in front of people. So for some of you that have like a lower ad spend budget, this is fantastic because the number one killer of most small and medium sized business is people just don't know you exist. It's obscurity. People just do not know that your business is near them and does the things or offers the things that you do. So to do this, you're introducing your business, your product, your service to a brand new, broader audience. So powerful, right? Is a lot of you have experimented maybe with postcards, or you've dabbled in ads, or you've done flyers, or anything, you've done mailers, something like that. You bought into the coupon thing that gets sent out. A lot of you have spent hundreds or maybe thousands of dollars on these things in magazines we've talked about in the past. And that is still awareness and reach and brand recognition. I mean, ultimately, your phone number may be on it. There might be a coupon associated with it. So you've taken it a little further. You've given them some type of action that they can take. But this is 100% the new billboard. Like, this is the radio advertisement. This is the billboard. This is brand recognition. This is putting your message out there, and it's done at a fraction of the cost. There are still best practices. We're going to cover that kind of at the very end of best practices when building really any ad campaign to ensure its effectiveness. But kind of moving down the list is next would be engagement. If I had to list them out kind of in order of really cost per conversion and ultimately like end of goal, top of funnel to bottom of funnel, I would put engagement next. Some would argue that traffic really should be next, but you could really, those are interchangeable depending really on your business and ultimately what your objective is. But we're going to go with engagement for the sake of this podcast. Engagement is you are asking the algorithm to optimize for engagement on your ad or on your page. Those are the two main categories. Is I want, when I run this ad, I am going to be soliciting some type of engagement. Now that could be interactions on your post, like they like it or they share it. It could be comments. You're going to see both. The engagement rate is measured by that. Did they like it? Did they comment on it? Did they share it? Did they watch the video? That is all engagement. So you are optimizing for engagement on your post. Pros and cons. Pros are that you're going to get likes and shares and comments on that post, which there are two ways. That looks like four, but it's only two. There are two ways that it can ultimately run. Is you can run a public post, meaning that you posted it to your page first, and then when you built your ad, you chose that post to then be the ad. Or you can run an ad that is not a post, meaning that everyone that follows your page never saw that post. It's only running to the people that you have selected in targeting with your ad. Those are the two ways. So when we run a lot of engagement posts, we run it as a post to the page, and then we run it as the ad. Here's the reason. Is because every single initial reaction, share, comment that you got on it organically, meaning when you posted it to your page to your followers, that is all reflected in the ad side. So when it's running as an ad, the people seeing it are going to see that there's already comments, that there's been shares, that there's likes. It's telling them that this is important or other people engaged with it, so maybe I should pay attention to it. But it also works the other way as well. When people are scrolling your Facebook page, they're going to see that you have this post with a ton of engagement. And that looks really good to them because it builds trust, it builds authority. You can also pin that post to the top of your page. So it's really the first thing that they see when they go through there. So there's not really, I would say, any pros or cons of doing it like a blacklisted ad, or a ghost ad is what we call it, meaning that it's not posted to your page. It's only running as an ad versus it being a post. We like running it as a post because it gives you that extra boost. People are able to see it on your page. They're also seeing it on the ad. There's just benefits there. Cons of running engagement is that's the ultimate objective. You're not saying that you want them to send you a message. You're not saying that you want them to fill out a lead form. You're not saying that you want traffic. All of those things can be byproducts. It can happen and does happen quite frequently, but it's just not the main objective. Again, in terms of price point, we're kind of going down the line here. Engagement, you are soliciting some type of action. So typically we see a slight bump in cost per conversion, which your conversion here would be engagement. over awareness or reach, because you're not really asking, you don't really have a call to action, you don't really have anything you're telling them or wanting them to do. So you do see a slight bump, but again, still significantly inexpensive compared to any other form of marketing or advertising. Going to the next part of the list, traffic. Let's talk about traffic. Traffic can be to your Facebook page. Traffic can be to your website. Traffic could be to a third party like a Google, or like you're trying to get reviews or something along those lines. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for that type of purpose, but traffic specifically, the way we use traffic the most is we want people to go to, say, a landing page. Let's say you offer lawn care. Let's just go with lawn care. And you're trying to solicit new clients for your lawn care business, is that you may have an ad running on Meta that is talking about lawn care. Again, we'll get into best practices because some of them would apply here, but you may have some type of offer associated with the first 50 people to go to our landing page and request a free quote, so on and so on. And again, we'll cover some of that here in just a minute. It could be that you have what we call a VSL, or a video sales letter. What that is in the simplest form is that when they hit your landing page, there would be a video, short video, maybe a couple of minutes, explaining who you are, what you do, why they should want your services or want your product. Or maybe it's traffic, you're running a contest, and they hit the landing page and it walks them through the process of entering in the contest. Maybe they need to go follow your pages and you've got links there and they're supposed to comment done on the ad. There's so many different ways to run traffic. But that in its rawest form is how we use traffic a lot for our clients, is that we want them to see the ad on Facebook. You can only give them so much context and so much data there on the platform, because keep in mind, Meta ads are what we call interruption marketing and advertising, meaning that they were not on that platform looking for your product or service. It works because you have something they want or need or desire. And something maybe they've been thinking about or talking about, and the algorithm knows these things, of course. And so it is relevant, but it is also broad. So they were not initially picking up their phone and like, let me go check my Facebook. I'm hoping to find a new purse, a lawn care company, a plumber. They were not thinking those things. Now, maybe they go to Facebook and they are asking community groups for a plumber, a pool builder, a landscaping company. They might be. But reality is the largest percentage of them are going there to, I use the terminology like watching dog and cat videos, but you all get what that means. They're there to kind of mindlessly scroll, and they do it for hours every single day, statistically. Maybe you don't, but statistically, most Americans do spend several hours on social media per day. But back to traffic is, again, in terms of cost and price point, I would say it's fairly similar to engagement, but you typically can see a slight bump again going to traffic. You're taking it up a notch. And here's the key thing is, if you are running traffic from one of Meta's apps, Facebook or Instagram, to your website, that is their user. They have some type of cost of acquisition to get that customer. It is their customer. They make more money with them being on their platform than they do with them being on your platform. Yes, they're going to make a little money off of you because you're spending ad spend to get them to see the ad and get them to click over to your website. But ultimately, they make more money off of people like me, like agencies and content creators that need them to be on those platforms, because that's where they are able to deliver more ads and make more money off of other people. But it is highly effective. And we're going to get into there's some best practices here as well. And we will cover that in terms of traffic and landing pages. I'll cover all of that towards the end of this once we get through kind of the campaign types. But that is traffic. Traffic is exactly what it sounds like. You are wanting them to go from point A to point B. That's exactly what you're wanting them to do. Next down the list would be lead generation. Lead generation is an extremely powerful tool. It really depends on your industry, but I would also venture to say it depends on what you're ultimately wanting out of that person. When you think of lead generation, there could be some of you that go, well, for my business type, I don't generate leads. Let's say I'm a retail business or something like that. Like, I want people to come in and I want people to shop, or I want them to shop online. All of those people are still potential leads or prospects. You just have to get them into your store, into your location, or into your online store. Now, you may go, well, traffic would be better for that. Possibly. But think of leads in the traditional sense, like we talked about the lawn care. They're looking for new customers who are interested in a quote. They fill out a lead form. Now they are a prospect. They are interested. Something in their mind is interested in what you offer. Maybe they are having trouble with their current landscape provider. Maybe they've never had a landscape provider. They just moved to the area, something along those lines. They are looking for your service and they're going to fill out that lead form. But also for those of you, I mentioned something earlier in terms of like a contest. The lead form could be a contest. It doesn't necessarily say, hey, fill out our lead form. It's like, hey, enter our contest. Also, you can be informational. You can say, like for us, is we can run a lead generation campaign that we're offering something. And to get the thing we're offering, tell us where to send it. Give us your email address or your mailing address or your phone number or whatever it may be, or all 3 or 4 of those things. That can be lead generation as well. I'm getting information from people in exchange for something else. That is information. It may not always be that I'm saying, hey, if you're interested in agency services and want to pay us money, contact us here, fill out this form. It may be, hey, we have this brand new guide to how to utilize AI in your business and save yourself 10 hours a week. If you want that, fill out this lead form and we'll send it to you. No questions asked. That goes deeper, and we'll cover that here in just a second. But leads can be generated on or off of the platform, meaning that you can run it as lead objective, but then to be sending them to your landing page on your website, but you're optimizing for the conversion to be that they filled out that lead form on your website. I will say this is just insider expert advice, is that we have seen better results by leaving them inside of Facebook's Meta's platform and filling out the lead form there. I don't know exactly when it is they rolled it out. I would say it's been at least 5 or 6 years ago, but Meta integrated a lead form inside of their platform. So they actually, and it's very user friendly, is what I'll say. Sometimes when you send them to your landing page, your website is not completely optimized for mobile, which is where most of these people will be viewing this information and filling these things out. Meta's is. And it's very easy to build these lead forms. You can build multiple lead forms. You can add creative to the lead forms. You can rearrange. Some of it is pre-fill, which is nice in some cases and also not so nice in others. But you can have pre-filled information, meaning that they're already on Meta. It has their first name, has their last name. They probably gave the platform a phone number. They may even give the platform an address when they signed up. So some of that information will pre-fill in that lead form. It just makes it user experience is easy. And anything that we can do to take out opposition of someone submitting their information to us, we want to. If we make it easy, they will do it. In terms best practices in terms of lead forms is that you want to collect, you want to find a happy balance, is that you want to get enough information that is valuable to you and that you can contact them or reach out to them. But you don't want to ask too many questions that will slide them to the side of like, this is too much. I'm not giving them all this information. Like, what do they need my social security number for? What do they need my date of birth for? I'm not saying you would ask for those things, but some have. We've had clients that are like, we want to do all this because we're doing credit or whatever else. Speaking of credit, there are certain categories that you have to be very careful on, or you will get flagged on Meta. Obviously, political is a no-no. Credit is a real thing. Housing is a real thing. Employment is a real thing. Essentially, when you have the option to select, does my ad fall into any of these categories? Do not bypass that. Tell it if it does. If it's housing, if you're a realtor, you're trying to promote a house or sell a house. If you're a financial planner, or if you are a credit, you're offering some type of credit, line of credit, credit cards, things like that, make sure you tell the platform that you are doing those things, because it will find out. And then you will get flagged. You possibly have a suspended ad account, and it's just a nightmare to get those things reversed, if possible at all. So just tell it that you're trying to do those things if you are. What it essentially does is it takes away some of the targeting because of like fair housing, equal opportunity, things like that. It's going to take away some of, you can't say, I only want to target women in this age bracket or men or this. Like you lose a lot of that targeting capability, which I'm going to get to the new algorithm. And there's some cool changes there that may affect that in a positive way. So that is what leads are. Is most of us are familiar with what leads are, but I wanted to expand your way of thinking a little bit. So that way maybe you go, oh, okay, so me thinking about a contest entry or sweepstakes or like something along those lines in like a retail space could still be lead gen. Next, last one we're going to cover for today is sales. You can optimize and say, I want to run an ad with the ultimate objective to be create sales. This can be done a couple of different ways. Talk about on platform and off platform. Is you can, you have obviously marketplace on Facebook that you can sell. You have Instagram, where there is a massive wave of people who are selling directly from Facebook and from Instagram. It's not just marketplace on Facebook. You can connect it to a product store. If you have a site like Shopify, it makes it very, very easy to connect these things. When you show a post and it has products in it, you can add a little clickable icon. They can click on that icon and they can go buy that thing. Typically takes them into your Shopify or into your kind of mini catalog there on Meta. The algorithm is going to be built in a way that it will be targeting people who are likely to make like online purchases. And it knows that based on user behavior and things like that. So that being said, is it will trigger a conversion based on you made a sale, whether it was on the Meta platform inside that catalog that you've built, or you've connected Shopify, or you're having them go over to your website and you've installed some code there on your website to detect that that person came from Meta and then made that purchase. Some of this does require that. You are going to need to put the Pixel. If you're not familiar with the Pixel, you might need to be in the SpeakLoud training, SpeakLoud Academy training, because it kind of walks through some of that. But the Pixel is essentially a piece of code inside of your ad account on Meta that you can install, and it tells you where to install it on your website. The initial base code is very simple to install. The conversion or events code is a little more complicated because you have to put the code in the right place. Shopify, again, makes this a lot simpler because it's got just little places that you can plug different things in. It's like, put your code here. And you're like, oh, that was easy. Some of the other ones like WordPress, things like that, they can be easy. They can also be very challenging for someone that's never done it before. Depends on what plugins and things that you're using to make it easier. Sales are optimized for just that. When you are looking at your ads dashboard and you're like, I've spent this much money and I have 3 conversions and da da da, you're going down the list and you're looking like, I spent $14 and got 3 conversions, and that you can even set what those conversions are valued at. Well, that conversion was valued at $14 a piece, so I've done 14 times 3 and I've only spent $17. I'm up. I'm doing good. I wouldn't say you're doing fantastic for that particular ratio, but you're doing fine. You're making money. You're going to want to continue to optimize it and things like that. But that is exactly what sales campaigns are built for. They're exactly that. They are optimized to sell some type of product or service through Meta ads. Full circle. Best practices. Best practices for really any ad campaign. I would say the only one that would be the exception would be like awareness or reach. Still, some of this is important because it's going to gain you traction and get more eyeballs on what you do. We like to see when we're running any ad campaign that there is some type of offer associated. And I say that not every single one of them have to. Awareness and reach may simply be what you do and what you offer, but if there was something attached to that, a discount, a first time, a waiving of a setup fee, anything along those lines that builds some urgency and builds some FOMO, then it will benefit you in the long run. And I've heard all of the excuses under the sun, under the planet, under the solar system. I've heard all of them. And at the end of the day, when I'm telling you this, I'm telling you these are just simply best practices, meaning that your ad will be optimized to perform the best it can perform. And hear me when I say this. An offer does not always mean a monetary amount or a percentage or a discount. It can be information. I mentioned earlier, like a guide that you're giving them. Like for us, here's how you can integrate, AI into your business and save yourself 10 hours a week. That is information. That is an offer. This is free. This does not cost you anything, but it also doesn't really cost me anything outside of the cost of running the ad and generating interest. But in that single campaign, I'm generating leads in exchange for my information. So that's totally fine. Now, some of you would benefit. No one gets excited about 5% off unless the amount of your sale is extremely expensive. Like 5% off of a house, that's crazy. Like, yeah, people are jumping up and down at that, but 5% off an oil change, not as exciting. 5% off of a pizza, not very exciting. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. To build your offer, you need something that is irresistible. It is a no-brainer. It is that they would feel absolutely ridiculous to pass up the opportunity at it. You need that type of offer. So you have to think through that. But where do you start with that? I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I am going to look at what am I offering? Is it pizza? Is it lawn care? Is it a pool? Is it a home? Whatever it is. What does it cost me to make that thing? Is it $4? Is it $400? What is the price? What does it cost me to deliver that in their hands, packaged up, shipped, whatever it is? What does it cost me? What is my raw cost? What do I usually sell it for? Do I make double? Do I make triple? Do I make 200%? Like, what do I usually make off of that? The difference for your offer is in that gap. Is if I make it for 5 and I usually charge 20, could I do 50% off? Could I make it $10 to the first 25 people or 50 people or 100 people or 10 people? I'm still doubling my money. Cost me 5, I'm making 10. They're getting 50% off. I usually charge 20. Is that a good deal? Does that get people really excited? Maybe. It depends on the product. I'd probably be pretty excited about 50% off. I'll give you a story about me is I love sneakers, specifically green ones. See all my green. I love sneakers, and my algorithm knows that I love sneakers. So I regularly get ads from Famous Footwear, from Foot Locker, from Nike. Um, and they even know that I like certain styles of shoes. So I will get these ads that'll pop up. And they also know me a little bit because I like discounts on shoes. I don't like to pay full price. The only time I will pay full price if it's a brand new shoe that's limited and I can only get it if I'm at the front of the line or whatever. I've done that maybe twice ever. Typically, I will wait for that ad will roll across. I'm like, oh, these are pretty cool. And I'm going to look at them. I'm going to go and I'm probably going to click over to Foot Locker. And again, the ad algorithm knows all of this. But he was interested and he clicked on these specific ones. Lo and behold, a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, I did not purchase. I get an ad. It's like, save 15% for free shipping, something low tier. I might bite then if I really want them because I'm saying, oh, girl math, I saved a little bit of money here. Basically, they were free. Not reality, right? We all know. But in a lot of cases, I may wait. I like them, but that's still basically I'm saving shipping or I'm saving tax, I'll keep looking. But again, they know I clicked. They know I went and looked at it. And a lot of times, later that week, a few days later, maybe a week or so later, another ad. Now it's 30% off and free shipping. I'm in there. I'm buying. If they would save some of their time and just give me that one from the very beginning, I probably would have bought it already. They'd already have my money. But it's the process that they go through. And you may be asking yourself questions of like, wait a minute, how did they keep doing? I'll explain that as well. But that is the ultimate objective is if like there's something that makes it like valuable to me. And if I feel like it's a good deal, everyone wants to feel like they're getting a good deal. And I don't care what they're buying, even if they still want quality. I'm not talking about like I want it cheap but I want it to be the best. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like everyone wants to feel like they got a good deal. It just makes people feel good, whether it's buying a car, a house, landscaping, pizza. Like people like getting a good deal. They want quality. A lot of them do. Some of them don't. Some of you serve the ones that don't care about quality. Some of you serve the ones that only want quality. But that's ultimately what it comes down to is like, can I make them feel warm and fuzzy? Can I make them feel like I gave them a good deal? Can I make them feel like it was kind of exclusive as well? Like there's only so many available. Can I build some urgency? That's ultimately, that's your like top best practices is like, what do you have associated with that makes people go, I want that? Like what separates you from every other maybe landscaping company ad that they're seeing or pizza ad or restaurant or retail? What separates you? What makes them go, oh, that one? That's the one I want to click on. That's the one that I want to buy. That's the one that I want to get in the contest or I want to go see their website or I want to go visit them. That's the separating. Next step is your creative. And this is going to become even more important as I get into kind of the next part of this with the new algorithm, which I know some of you are waiting around to hear, and that's perfect. Creative is next. What is your copy saying to them? Copy is just your text above the ad. What is that saying to them? What is it expressing? Does it reiterate the offer? Does it reiterate how awesome your product or service is? Does it reiterate the problem that you solve? And again, if you've heard me talk before, don't always think in the way of like, oh, they've got a leak or their power's out or their grass is too tall. Problems can be I'm hungry. Problems can be I'm looking for some new shoes. Problems can be like I'm looking for a good deal on this new handbag or I'm looking for a new place to shop for clothing. Like those can still be problems. They're not problems in the traditional sense of like I have a problem. That's their problem. That's the issue they're trying to solve. That's what they're searching out. So did you iterate that in the copy, in the text? Now moving on to the creative, did you iterate those things in the copy or in the graphic as well, whether it's a graphic or it's a video? And speaking of that, did you launch your ad campaign with one creative? You created this graphic and you're like, that's it. This is the one everybody's going to love. I will let you know you might be wrong. And it's something our agency has to take into account too. When we launch these new campaigns, typically there's a minimum of like 3, 4, or 5 creatives, and that's not a lot. Some of them have 20 because we don't know from the very beginning what people are going to respond to. Is it going to be this graphic with text up top and then the photo down low and then the call to action in the middle? Or is it this video talking head style that's like, you need this and here's why. It's got captions, no captions. Is it red background, blue background? Like, what is going to grab their attention? What is going to cause them to stop scrolling on Meta for a couple of seconds and look at our ad or click on it or leave us a comment or fill out the lead form? You have to test some of those things. You have to have certain levels of creative. I don't think you need to go crazy from the very beginning and do 30, especially if you've never really done this before. But I think that you need some variations. You need to ensure that you've got some graphic in the mix, you've got some video in the mix. You may be surprised which one converts. We've been surprised before, and that's why we test. And we do this every single day across a ton of different industries. So if we can be surprised, we will even play a game sometimes where like this one or this one. This one or this one is going to be like, that's the one that's going to win. A lot of times we're right. Sometimes we're like, what? That's the one? Cool. We kill off the ones that are not performing. We double down on the ones that are, and we create some other variations along those same lines because that's the winning one. What you should be doing as well. So we talked about offer. We talked about kind of creative and your actual ad. Let's talk about the last one. Really, it's just ad spend. Some of you that are dabbling in it, you may be scared to spend more than a couple of dollars a day or $5 a day or something like that. You have to have enough information to know if it's working or not. And for us, I'd say that's really a minimum of like $10 a day. And for some of you that have a much broader area or broader audience that you're trying to reach, $10 a day may not really cover it. Just to give you an example, I mean, and this is, again, these are just blanket kind of standard numbers. But if you're spending $10 a day, $300 a month, you're probably reaching with a, say, brand awareness campaign, which again is no objective, you're probably reaching 30,000 people. So if your target demo is larger than that and you're only spending $10 a day, you're not reaching all of them. And some months it won't even go to that high because you have other things competing against it. You can have elections, local, regional, national. You can have big shopping holidays that the big box retailers are spending a ton of money, like Black Friday, Christmas in July, those types of things. Small business Saturday, like the official. You can have a lot of people spending money that weekend to promote. So you can see little dips and dives and increases. You may have some months you're like, he said 30 and I got 55,000 impressions. That's great. Great. It's going to happen. You're going to ride that wave. But what I'm getting at is you just have to ensure that your ad spend budget is adequate for what you're ultimately wanting to accomplish and what it can do for your business. If you're just sticking your toe in the water and going, well, I spent $40 last month and I didn't get anything. You're targeting 1.4 million people with $40. Like, what did you expect? You're only going to reach, a couple thousand people. You've got to like bump that up. You have to be willing to invest to be able to see a return on it. And you cannot measure the success of a campaign off of $400, let alone a couple $100. If you're going to dive into ads and running ads with these types of objectives, and that goes, once you move into traffic, engagement, leads, sales, like that number has to go up because those cost per conversions are much higher. If you spend $40 and get one sale, it's probably because you didn't reach enough people to even get them to be interested. Someone was. That should be exciting for you because what does $400 look like? Is it 10 sales? Is it 15? And then how do those numbers change? Because the more conversions you get, that price per conversion is going to come down. The more of the right people that you're hitting, the more of the right people are clicking, right people are buying or filling out your lead form, the cost per conversion is going to go down. So those are your top tips that I can give you. Now, I mentioned something in terms of traffic and leads and things like that apply. The last campaign type that I'll tell you about before we dive into the algorithm is going to be retargeting. And you go, whoa, what is that? It's powerful. It's very powerful. Requires some additional steps. It's a higher tier campaign type. Requires a little bit more setup, but here's exactly what it does. For example, I mentioned the shoes ad with myself that I clicked on the first one and it knows that. And then I saw another one a week or so later, and then they hit me again. The same thing applies if you've ever been on, say, bestbuy.com's website and you were looking at a new pair of headphones. And then a few days later, you're back on Meta, Facebook, or Instagram, and you get an ad for those headphones. There's a little discount or free shipping, or there's a bundle deal or something along those lines. That is retargeting. It can be applied just that same way. The code I mentioned, the pixel that can be installed on your website, you install it on your website, you're able to retarget your website traffic on Meta. Is if they hit your website and there's a little ping that goes off that detects that person kind of hit your website. You're not getting like their name, phone number, and all that jazz. It's in the background inside of Meta. Meta examines the data and it's looking for a match on their platform. And they go, oh, look, that's Bob. Bob was the one that was on his website and Bob's back on Facebook. Let's deliver him this ad. And the ad could be very specific. Hey, we know you were lurking on our website. We'd love to have you come back, and to entice you, here's an offer. This is a next tier. When we talk about a funnel system, awareness and reach is at like the top of your funnel. Your next step is like traffic, maybe engagement. Bottom, it becomes leads and ultimately sales. This is like your mid tier, can also be utilized for your lower tier funnel. Is if they're on your website or they've engaged with an ad already on Facebook or Meta or Instagram, whatever you want to call it, you can start retargeting to where these people are kind of warmer than the broad audience. They were interested enough to either engage with your post or go to your website. Maybe they even hit the lead form page, but they didn't fill it out. You can retarget those folks specifically, like run this ad to the people who hit my landing page but didn't fill out my lead form. Maybe we up the ante with them. Maybe we simply address it like, hey, we recently saw that you were interested. We'd love to have you fill this out. Maybe then you're targeting with the lead form on Meta instead of their website. We have a campaign that has about 18 or 20 different automations and triggers in it right now that does exactly that. If they visit the website, but they're not filling out information there, then we're going to retarget them on Meta and ask them to fill out the information there on Meta because maybe they're more likely to. Maybe it was easier, like I mentioned earlier. But retargeting is an extremely powerful tool. You can even take your email list, put it inside of Meta and go, hey, I want to run an ad to these people because these are old customers. They haven't been in a while. Maybe you filtered that with your customer list. Give me a list of customers that haven't shopped with me in 6 months or 3 months or a year, whatever it may be. I'm going to upload that list into Meta and I'm going to go hit them with an ad on Facebook and be like, hey, we've missed you. Here's 15% off. We'd love to have you come back. Something along those lines. Next layer, and I will not go any deeper in this because it starts to get really, really in the weeds. Using that data of your clients, your customer list, your website data, your engagement on the platform on your previous ads, you can build what is called a lookalike audience. A lookalike audience takes this set of data and it goes, here are all these people that visited my website or engaged with a post or that are old customers on this list. I want you to create this other list, this new list that is people that look like them. You may go, why do I care if they wear sunglasses and blue jeans? Not that kind of look like them. Look like them in the sense of they live in similar areas, they have similar interests, they shop at the same stores, they have the same type of income, their kids go to the same school. The example I like to use is you have the ability to make a 1% match up to about a 10 or higher percent match. We usually really play in like the 1 to 5% match. If you were on this list and I told it to go find a 1% match to you, the expression I use is that you would either be best friends with that person or you'd be worst enemies with that person because your personalities would be so similar that it's a little scary. And we all know sometimes opposites attract, sometimes opposites oppose. So that's why I use that expression. But the reality is that they probably live in a similar community. They might be neighbors. They probably attend the same schools. They shop at the same places. They have some of the same interests. It's using all of the data that Meta has at its disposal, which if you know like I do, it's a lot. They are then going and matching it. And they're finding close matches depending on the percentage that you chose. So if you have a list of customers and you want to find other customers like them, this is a low-hanging fruit campaign that you can run if you have the data for it. When I say if you have the data for it, there's certain base requirements. Your list has to be a certain length and things like that. Again, covered inside of Speak Loud Academy and other places. You can go find that information. You can Google that as well, but we walk through it kind of step by step. This is a great campaign type. For those of you that do have a historic customer list, it's very easy to take that and get it inside there. There are some steps. This is a more techie involved in building this out to ensure all the data points are where they need to be and that you're targeting the right people and things like that. But it's low-hanging fruit for the most part. That being said, let's move away from meta ads, the campaign structure and campaign type, and let's talk about the changes briefly that were recently made and rolled out with meta ads. And this is extremely important. It's going to tie back into the ad structure I mentioned. Is Meta rolled out late 2025 into 2026 Andromeda. Andromeda is their new AI retrieval engine. And it is the most significant update that has happened to meta ads in the last 5, maybe 10 years. And in its simplest form, it is AI driven. and it is promoting creative first. And when I say that, before you had the again, I talk about the hierarchy of Facebook ads. You had campaign type, which is what we covered today, the different types of campaigns that you can select. And then you had your ad set level. There was 3 layers: campaign, ad set, and ad. Ad set is where you picked targeting. You said, I want to target men and women that are between the ages of this, and they live in one of these 5 cities or zip codes. And then you had interest based targeting where you could go, I want them to have this job title. I want them to be interested in these books or these types of things or this type of business, or they're an entrepreneur. They're not, you had all this interest. We called it interest stacking that you could add into the layers, into the mixes. That is the biggest change that is taking place. Now, AI is doing a lot of that heavy lifting and a lot of that matchmaking based on the next level, which is your ad level, which is your creative. It is your copy, your text that you're associating with your ads, and it is the actual creative that is associated with your ads, whether it be a graphic, a video, whatever it may be. Now, with Andromeda, it is examining your copy and your creative and going, who is this for? Is it calling out someone specific? Now, you can still set base parameters inside of the ad set level, meaning like if you only want to target Texas, California, Colorado, Oklahoma, Louisiana, or a mixture of those, or even smaller. Like I only want to target the San Antonio area. I only want to target the Lafayette, Louisiana. Like you can still select those things if it's very specific to your business. Like a retailer or even a service provider that does not service Lafayette, Louisiana, you don't just leave it broad. Like you would bring it down a little bit with my recommendation. I wouldn't mind testing it, but what's going to happen is you're going to get people that are going to comment like, well, you need to adjust your targeting. I live, I'm not in Dallas. I'm not in San Antonio. Do you know that I live in, you're going to get some of that. But it is going to examine. And again, did you call out who you're looking for in your copy and in your creative? Did you say, hey, San Antonio moms? Does it say it in your creative? Because if it does, Andromeda is going to see that. Oh, they're looking for San Antonio moms. I would test it, especially with this new rollout. It's vast. It's vast what it's doing, and it's very intuitive, as most AI is. Bugs, of course, as is any rollout with AI. But I would test it. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket and say I'm going to throw $100 a day at this one that's targeting the entire United States when I only want to hit San Antonio. But I would see what it delivers. I would throw a micro budget at it for 5 to 7 days and see how it delivers versus me saying, only show this to San Antonio. I would test it because of what they're telling us about Andromeda and what we're seeing with Andromeda. That being said, is now more than ever, it is always creative, has always been a big driver, but your targeting was paramount or equally important. Now you selecting that targeting is less important, and it takes a backseat to your creative because it is now creative first matchmaking. It is examining your creative, your graphic, your image, your video, your carousel, and your copy. It is looking at those 2 things and it's going, who are they looking for? Oh, it's saying they are the number 1 pool builder in South Texas, and they are looking for homeowners in a specific neighborhood or a subdivision or a certain pocket. They're looking for people who want to build pools. They're looking for people who want to redo their landscaping. They're looking for people who are looking for new clothes. They're looking for people who are hungry and want pizza. You connecting those dots and being that specific of who you're looking for requires a couple of things. It requires you to ensure it's in the copy and the creative. That's easy, or it sounds easy. But it requires you to know who you're looking for. You're going to need to know who your avatar is. And when I say avatar, I just mean who is your person. Looking at historical data in your business, is it men? Is it women? Is it this age bracket, that age bracket? Who are they that specifically usually has the buying decision inside of your business for your product or service? Who is it? You need to be calling them out. The creative, if it's women, the creative could be a woman with a shopping bag that's walking out of your store, and it could say, boutique, and it could have all these different things. We're looking for this. We're looking for that. Hey, so-and-so mom, like you have to, if it's soccer moms, like who is your demographic? And again, when I talk about you want creative variations, This is where that comes into play, is because maybe you have 3 or 4 different types of people who are important to your business or your ideal list of clientele. You need an ad and a creative that speaks to each one of them. If they're soccer moms, if they're baseball moms, if they're stay-at-home moms, if they're corporate attorneys, if they are anything. If you know what they are and you know where your ideal customer lives, kind of works, plays, if you know who they are to some degree, then you need to have an ad variation that's built out to them. And I'll give you a good example with us. And mine may be a little easier than yours, but we serve business owners. But what business owners do we specifically serve? Well, we have a variety. We are not a single one lane agency that only works with chiropractors. We have clients from manufacturing to retail to hospitality. Like, we have a variety. But if I want to target more of them, then I've got to get very specific. For me to put an ad out that's like, hey, business owners, like, yeah, that's a demographic, but it's huge. And it could be anything. It could be something maybe we don't want to work with, which we're fairly selective with who we know we want to work with and who works best with us. I need to call them out specifically. I need to call out the specific type of manufacturing that they do. I need to call out the specific type of entrepreneur that they are, the specific industry or type that they're in. Maybe it's roofing contractors. I don't really work with a whole lot of roofing contractors. I was in the space so long that just have really turned most of them down. But that's neither here nor there. It's another story for another day. But I would need to specifically call them out, not only in the copy, but also in the creative. I would need to show them that it's for them. I would need to show the algorithm. I need to show Andromeda that this is who I'm looking for. Because the days of doing that in the ad set level and choosing interest in like roofing contractor, general contractor, GC, home repair, that has changed. With Andromeda, it's doing that heavy lifting for me. And if I try to put all those parameters back into it, I'm probably going to miss people because I'm limiting this new AI-driven algorithm from reaching all of the people, because not everyone tells Meta, I am the owner of a roofing company, da 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 da. It may say self-employed. It may say they're the boss. It may say no job, may not even have anything listed there. Some of them do, some of them don't. And if I give it very specific parameters, it can't reach the other ones that it knows own this roofing company because of their post and because of the things they like and the things they engage with. It knows more than I do. So I don't want to put anything in a box and shrink my results and then measure success based on the box that I put it in. So I wanted to share that with you today, because those of you that are dabbling and playing, and maybe even not even dabbling or playing, some of you are full in the trenches of meta ads. These things are important that you understand, even if you're not the one managing them. If you have a team of people or an agency, another agency that you're working with, these things are important for you to know so you feel informed and you can ask the right questions. You can steer and direct and say, hey, what do you guys know about the Andromeda thing that's rolled out? They're probably going to look at you like you're crazy and go, how do you know about that? Or they're going to look at you and go, what are you talking about? And you need to fire that person immediately. Because if they're in my shoes, whether it's an agency or someone in your marketing advertising department responsible for spending your money on Facebook ads and they have no clue, it's probably time to make a change. People in our position should be at the leading edge of this. We should know about these things. We should be diving into these things. We started looking at the rollout before we even knew what it was called because we saw it coming. We saw the tech updates. We saw stuff from our meta rep. We heard and saw the whisperings. And so we started diving into it in like October, November. And we were just waiting for the name to come out and for the details to come out. And now that we know them, we dove deep. We dove deep and started figuring it out. That being said, this was everything I wanted to share with you for this podcast. This was, I wouldn't say a lengthier one. This is probably about the amount of time we typically usually spend, 30 to 50 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour on these podcasts. But I hope that they are helpful to you. I hope that you can take something from it. And whether you take it back to your team, you bring it to us and go, hey, we watched this and we need to be doing these things. Can you help me? Whether that is Speak Loud Academy or it's becoming a client of ours, then like we're here for you. We can have that conversation. And see if it's a fit or not. But if you have the team, take this to them, make them watch this and ensure that they know what these things are and how they work and the best practices. If you have an agency, now you have some questions that you can go ask them. And if they don't answer them correctly, then you can call us. But again, always trying to give as much info to you as we possibly can, open textbooks, transparent as possible. And as easily actionable as we possibly can make it. There's obviously a level of talent and science and knowledge and know-how in all of this. But if you have those people inside of your organization, take this to them. Go talk to them about it. But I hope you guys learned something today and can take something away. I appreciate you tuning in. I look forward to being with you on the next one. We haven't 100% decided what the topic of that one will be. We're leaning towards a couple of things, and we'll let you know in the next one. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you on the next episode of the Speak Loud podcast.